It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2024.
Welcome to CBS Mornings Plus.
There was so much fire in here. It was insane. Our trees are catching on fire. Houses are catching on fire. There was fire every single direction you looked.
A fire near Malibu scorches thousands of acres in Southern California as crews fight back fast-moving flames.
And climate change, you might say, is on the menu this morning. We'll speak to a former White House chef about some of the foods that could disappear as the planet warms.
Gen Z may refuse to bring back the skinny jean, but they might just revive the flip phone. We'll speak to two teens who ditched their smartphones for so-called light phones.
I'm Elsbeth. I'm part of the thing.
The one, the only, Carrie Preston is here in studio, back for season 2 of Elsbeth, and this time she gets to work with her real-life husband.
Justice delayed is justice denied, and my ancestors didn't sail here on the Mayflower to see justice miscarry.
Guess you've never seen The Crucible.
I really like Elsbeth.
It's very funny. It's a great show. I'm looking forward to talking to the two young people, or are they teens? Very young anyway.
Teens. They're high schoolers.
Flip phones. They're back with the flip phones.
They are.
Love it.
They're back with a vengeance. All right. We are, of course, learning more this morning about the man charged with killing United Healthcare CEO in New York City last week. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione shouted to cameras yesterday as officers tried to hurry him into court. Mangione was denied bail, and he is fighting efforts to return him to New York to face a murder charge. Authorities say they found handwritten documents on Mangione at the time of his arrest, in which he took responsibility for the shooting. CBS News spoke to a friend of Mangione's from his time living in Hawaii.
I do know that he was suffering from a spinal misalignment that had been ongoing for quite some time, and that something had to do with his care back home. So he always was weighing on him returning home so that he could see his doctor. I just feel heartbroken, somebody that I loved and cared about, that could have done something so hideous, but also that, his life effectively is probably forever over and altered, and it just hurts.
Just a painful mix of emotion. The people that know him must be feeling, his friends, his family. This is someone they knew. They didn't expect this to happen. And then you have the victim, whose life is gone, who has a family of his own. It's just horrible. Yeah, and ironically, the Mangione family, has been giving to healthcare causes, to hospitals for years on the wealth that the grandfather accumulated in the Baltimore area. Yeah, so the fact that the healthcare system is the target, allegedly, of their sons' or grandsons' attacks is it's quite a twist. Yeah. All right, in Southern California, 1,500 firefighters are battling an out-of-control wind-driven fire in Malibu. It's already scorched more than 3,000 acres. That's since Tuesday. 20,000 people are now under evacuation orders, and this is a fire driven by very strong Santa Ana winds. It burned dangerously close to Pepperdine University. We showed you some of these pictures yesterday. There's more of them. Students are sheltered there in place for a second consecutive night. Carter Evans is live for us in Malibu. That is at the center of the firefight. There's been a lot of action even this morning in the wee hours. Carter, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tony. You can see that ominous glow behind me right now, but the good news is the wind has died down, and you can tell the flames aren't laying over as much as they were earlier. So that's pretty good news. Now, firefighters have been battling this all night long. The combination of gusty winds, low humidity, that makes for perfect conditions for a wildfire like this to spread rapidly. Now, we're not far away from Pepperdine University, and that's where students are sheltering in place after flames came dangerously close to campus overnight on Tuesday. Power is out for much of the school, and the university canceled all classes and finals. Now, Malibu is known for being a celebrity enclave, and many of those celebrities were among the thousands who were forced to evacuate. That includes 98-year-old Dick Van Dyke, who posted on Facebook that he and his wife evacuated their home to safety, but they were forced to leave behind their cat, who escaped in the middle of the chaos. Now, the good news is, as I said, that wind is dying down. It's expected to continue dying down this afternoon, and that's going to be a big help to firefighters. In the meantime, arson investigators are looking into the cause of this fire. Tony and Adriana?
Say it ain't so.
Man. Carter, thank you so much. In the Middle East, Israel's military is now pushing into parts of Syria after the country's dictator was overthrown. Israel has also struck hundreds of targets inside Syria, saying the strikes were meant to destroy weapons so that the rebels who drove Bashar al-Assad out of power cannot use them. Israel says its airstrikes destroyed most of Syria's strategic weapon stockpiles. The military also said it took control over border territories for security. It denies any plans to advance toward Syria's capital, Damascus.
This morning, we are getting a look at the newest inflation numbers in November. Overall, inflation was up 2.7% compared to last year. Not exactly what folks were hoping for. Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady is with us now. Kelly, good morning. What does this report tell us?
So basically, this tells us that we are not making the progress that we wanted to see in the fight against inflation. So this tells us that prices are rising, and we wanted to see them rise at a slower rate, right? That 2.7%. The Fed is looking for a target of 2%. That's well above that. And I want to note, look, last month it was an anomaly when prices went up. This is now a trend. It's a couple months in a row. So just to give you context, right, 2% is what we're looking for. It came in at 2.7%. Last month was 2.6%. The month before, 2.4%. So you see that upward trend.
Wow.
Couple areas that I want to highlight that stuck out to me. So shelter, right? We all need a place to live. That accounted for 40% of the monthly increase. Food also was a big one. 4 out of the 6 grocery food groups that the index measures, they all jumped. And so a couple ones that I was going, oh goodness, beef up 3.1%, eggs up 8.2%.
Those eggs.
That's always the eggs, right,
Always
Adriana?
the eggs, yes.
But just to put that into context, the average monthly increase was 0.3%. So that's a big difference, 8% versus 0.3. So kind of what does this tell you?
The average monthly increase over a year?
Over the month.
Over
so
the
from
month.
last month to this month,
Okay.
eggs went up 8%. So kind of what this tells me is the biggest increases that we're seeing are from necessities, food, shelter. It's not the things that you can say, you know what, next month.
But if we pull back and look at kind of the larger trend, I mean, inflation was at 9% just a couple summers ago. So even though we're not at that 2% target, we've made a lot of progress, right?
We absolutely have. But I don't want to gaslight viewers. This doesn't mean the prices are going down. They're just rising at a slower rate. So yes, we're not at 9%, but we want to see it come down to 2%.
Yeah, wow. Not great news, but we can hope for better ahead.
Yes, Kelly, thank you so much. All right, a court ruling last night is blocking the Onion's plan to buy Alex Jones's InfoWars. A federal judge in Houston rejected last month's auction of Jones's conspiracy platform to the parody news site. The judge said the secret bidding process left a lot of money on the table. So they will have a new auction. The sale was backed by families of the victims of the Sandy Hook shooting who won a defamation suit against Jones totaling $1.4 billion. Lawyers for the family say that they are disappointed in the judge's ruling.
All right, drones everywhere, but what are they doing? We got an update this morning on those large, mysterious drones flying over the state of New Jersey. The governor there says he's seen at least 49 of them, not personally, but that's how many sightings have come in. Witnesses say they seem to disappear after they're spotted, and this is serious enough to have caught the attention of the White House. President Biden's chief spokeswoman says they are aware of the situation and federal agents are investigating. We'll stay on it.
All right, now there are reports that Bill Belichick, who has won 6 Super Bowls, is considering to coach at the University of North Carolina. Belichick coached the New England Patriots, of course, for 24 seasons. He and the Pats parted ways in January. Some people say Tom Brady really deserves the credit for those Super Bowl wins. Belichick's record as a head coach without Brady is 85 wins, 102 losses. I'm not sure this is fair, but we'll get to that in a second. We want to bring in our Nate Burleson to talk about this. Welcome back,
Nate Burleson.
I'm glad to be back.
Yes.
I'm laughing because does a picture exist of Bill Belichick where he's not scowling? At every shot, it's just him like...
Yeah, you know those Muppets in the balcony?
Yeah.
That's the face that he has all the time.
There he is.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? But I cannot picture that face walking into living rooms and recruiting teenagers to play football at a University of North Carolina.
It would be hard to see. I mean, because it's different when you're talking to grown men that are getting paid millions of dollars and that are out there to do a job, which is band together to win a Super Bowl, versus going into a home of a couple of parents and talking about some 18-year-olds saying, please let your son come to the University of North Carolina so we could win a bowl game. But I'll say this, Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches ever. And I'm not just talking about in football, greatest coaches in sports history. Wherever he lands, they will be successful. Discipline will always reign supreme when it comes to building a team.
Look at these pictures.
I know, you're
so
right. Now I'm
funny.
looking at them. But is it fair to say that without Tom Brady, he isn't as good as people might think he is?
Is it the chicken or the egg?
Shots fired.
Like which came
shots
first?
fired.
No,
There's that statistic
and you're right.
floating around that without Brady, he has more losses than wins. But with Brady, he coached Brady.
I
right?
believe it was the perfect marriage, and they were able to coexist and make each other better. Brady wouldn't be the same quarterback without Bill Belichick. And the same thing goes for Belichick without Brady.
Hold on, Belichick is 15 wins away from the all-time wins record of the NFL.
That's key.
Come on, he's going to go back to the NFL and get that.
Which is why I think he's creating the demand in college so he can have these NFL teams come knocking on the door so he can be the winningest coach all time in the NFL.
They're not fooled. They're not fooled.
No, I like that idea. All right, Nate Burleson, thank you.
All right, I'm out. See you guys later.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Yeah. All right, coming up, does it feel like you've been hearing about a lot of contaminated foods? We are asking a food safety reporter what is going on. And that's next. Does it feel like there's been a string of food recalls?
Yes,
recently?
every
Right?
day, something new.
Because we're reporting it here, so it does feel that way. From Kirkland signature brand organic eggs, potentially infected with salmonella, to carrot products from Grimway Farms that's potentially contaminated with E. coli, to millions of pounds of Bruce Pack ready-to-eat meat and Boar's Head deli products tainted by listeria. Many consumers may be wondering, are we seeing more recalls than normal, or is there something actually going on with our food supply? So on that question, the FDA told us that food recalls in 2024 are, quote, generally consistent with years past, and that most recalls are carried out voluntarily by the companies themselves when a problem is found, which again, according to the FDA, shows that the system is actually working. The FDA also reminded us that U.S. food supply remains one of the safest in the world.
One of. Are you not reassured? And by the way, it's not only food recalls that have many people wondering what's safe to eat, it's the food ingredients and food processing too. Social media and wellness books are full of talk of so-called ultra-processed food, which includes additives that are banned in other countries and may be linked to health problems in this one. And now there's a new lawsuit just filed against some of the country's largest and most profitable makers of that food, claiming they engineered the ultra-processed, chemically modified products to be addictive and overconsumed, that they targeted kids in the process, and that they allegedly know the products cause increased risks of severe physical injuries, that's a quote, in kids, including type 2 diabetes, liver disease, other chronic diseases as well. As for the company as well, they have an industry group that represents food and beverage makers, and it told Reuters that there is no agreed-upon scientific definition of ultra-processed foods, and adding that it's misleading to classify foods as unhealthy simply because they are processed. But back to the big question, what do I eat? And will Adriana stop judging me when I get the chips and the soda at the checkout aisle?
Yeah, right. You do not.
I do. I love a bag of chips. You're right about the soda.
You were at the farmer's market getting all the good stuff.
I do cook a lot at home because I do worry about ultra-processed food, but bag of chips every day.
Okay, I want proof. All right, joining us now is journalist Michael Moss. He won a Pulitzer Prize for his 2010 reporting on food safety, including investigations into contaminated hamburger meat. He also is the author of Salt, Sugar, Fat, and Hooked. Michael Moss, good morning.
Good morning to you, and you had me on chips, because that's one of my vulnerable places.
It's only a few ingredients on the back. It seems like it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have questions about the ingredient list. We'll get to that. But when Tony was talking about the fact that the industry says that there's no definition for ultra-processed foods, I saw you go,
yeah.
What is the definition, and what's the spectrum?
Well, everybody has their own definition. It's food that's so hyper-engineered and savagely marketed that you can't even tell what the basic food stuff is in it. For me, the definition is convenience, right? You're walking through the grocery store, and the more convenience there is in the package on the shelf, the easier it is to throw in your cart, bring it home, put it on the shelf, and maybe just like warm it up for dinner, the more the hidden cost to that product is, which is huge. I mean, some of the estimates on what the hidden cost in our overeating of junk food and processed food run as high as $1.7 trillion a year for taking care of chronic diseases and lost productivity. So, I mean, this is arguably the biggest man-made health disaster out there that we're facing right now.
So, I mean, the connection between ultra-processed food and all these bad health outcomes, it seems to be coming into focus. So there's just a headline the other day, scientists find potential link between ultra-processed food and cancer. This is the first lawsuit of its kind. Do you think we're going to see a lot of these going forward?
You know, I'd be really interested to see the motions to dismiss from the food industry, because this lawsuit is brought by some really smart attorneys, naming names of the biggest companies out there. And so what their defense will be, I'll be really curious about, because we've seen attempts in the past to sort of hold the industry accountable in a court of law.
And can we talk about the food additives thing? There's this concept that the FDA has of generally regarded as safe, the GRAS standard, and that allows the companies themselves to tell the FDA what they think is safe to put in the food. Do I have
sounds
that right?
crazy, right? It sounds like totally convoluted, right? Yes, you know, we can add a product to an ingredient, an additive, a color, a dye to our product. You know, if we just show you, the federal government, some evidence that we think makes it safe. It's totally opposite in Europe, which is why people have been sort of looking there at their breakfast cereals and go like, why aren't they like neon glowing like ours? It's because they have a different system where they have to prove that the additive is safe before it's added.
We have 4,000 additives on our generally regarded as safe list. They have 1,000.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or no, 400. It's actually 10 times as many here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What can families do? What can people like me, you know, I try to make meals. I do grab a lot of those like frozen foods, you just throw it in a pot, you know, because I don't have time right now. I'd like to buy the organic stuff, to make stuff from scratch. You made a beautiful pizza. I think we have a photo of it.
But look, I work morning hours, right? So I have time to cook in the afternoon and evening, right? So other people don't. And like a lot of this ends up being, there's a lot of judgment and class resentment involved in talking about this stuff, because to not eat processed food costs more money and more time.
Yeah.
So what can people do, and what are the ingredients to really avoid?
Well, and going into the holidays, this is really good to talk about. And January, we can come back and talk about sort of the deeper kind of solutions. I mean, I sort of am on the side of, don't try to overdo it. I mean, forget the 10-day diet detox program, because it's so hard to follow. Maybe pick out just one thing for the next couple of weeks that you can kind of eliminate from those evil ingredient lists, and maybe it's sugar for some people, and kind of just try to focus on that and see how that goes. And then maybe on top of that,
Sugar is in everything.
I know, but then maybe on top of that, maybe try to think of some ways to sneak a little more vegetables and fruits with every nutritionist tells us we should be eating more of into your meals.
Hope we can do it. Michael, I do hope you come back in January. There's so much more to talk about. And that Pulitzer you won for the hamburger report like years ago, it changed my life.
Oh my God.
Really, yeah.
Thank
I'm
you
having
so
hamburgers
much.
tonight, still eat them, but not the way I used to. So thank you very much, appreciate it. Coming up, parents take notice. Before you cave and buy your kids a smartphone, the one they've been asking for, you might want to hear from these next people first. We're going to talk to two teens who've got advice. Next on CBS Mornings.
Plus.
This holiday season, many kids are asking for their first ever smartphone. Oh, what an occasion. Well, a new study shows that parents and kids may want to reconsider that. Nearly 40% of teens say they spend too much time on their phone. That's self-admitted. And 72% say they feel more peaceful without a smartphone. A new organization, the Take Two Media Initiative, is working with kids and parents to create healthy habits around technology and social media. And joining us now to talk about it are two student ambassadors from the Take Two Media Initiative, Zora Penn and Gemma Graham. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
You're both amazing. This is an incredible initiative. And you're both forswearing, you're giving up the smartphone?
We are trying to regulate our usage of it. Definitely.
Kind of a heavy sigh there, actually. You were like, do you feel you're giving up something significant by regulating your use?
I don't think I'm giving up something significant. I think I'm gaining an access to the world that isn't like restricted by being on my phone all the time. I get to observe the greater world.
So you guys got your first smartphones at what, like 4th, 5th grade?
Yeah.
And so why did you decide to become ambassadors for this organization that really works to help young people smartly use their smartphones?
So I first heard of Take Two Media Initiative from an administrator at my school. She knew I was interested in media literacy because I was concerned about how social media may affect the election. And so I'm really grateful I got to become a media ambassador because in addition to learning about media literacy, I also got to learn about media well-being and how people can be on their phones in a healthier manner.
So what do you guys tell your friends, Gemma? What do you tell your friends when you're trying to help kind of coach them through how to use their phones?
Well, I feel like it's all about baby steps. And yes, there's a lot of social pressure. People have fear of missing out, FOMO, if they're not looking at Instagram and the upcoming trends on TikTok. But I am trying to promote awareness, and this is really important stuff that we're doing. So.
I would imagine that giving up or regulating your social media improves your relationship with your parents, with people who live with you, with family, but maybe not with friends, because you're not DMing with them, you're not posting, reposting, you name it. I mean, has this affected, Zora, take it first, your relationships at school?
So I wouldn't say it has drastically affected my relationships with people at school. I'm still seeing them every day. We're still interacting. And I think sometimes it's nice to be hanging out with your friends when they're not always on their phone.
Because you go to a no-phone school, right, Zora?
I do go to a no-phone school, yes. And I think people there, we're talking to each other more. We're not all in our own little worlds, and that's been really helpful.
But you guys have computers where you can still kind of check Instagram and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So there's always a loophole. Zora, you do something with your friends. You have a dinner phone pile. What is that? And we just have a couple seconds left.
So we put our phones in a pile, and then whoever takes the phone first has to pay the check or pay for dessert, and it helps us stay more engaged in conversation.
You like that idea, Gemma? She's smiling.
No, I do.
I think it's great.
Gemma always resists. She's sitting on her hands,
Yeah.
never pays. All right, love that. Thank you guys so much for being here and for everything that you're doing. It's amazing. They even go to PTAs and talk to parents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's incredible work.
Great. All right, thank you guys. All right, in today's Morning Memory, we look back at the decades before teenagers got their hands on cell phones. On this day in 1980, CBS News reported on how ultrasounds became an essential tool for monitoring pregnancies. Surprisingly, ultrasounds only became routine for pregnancies a little over 4 decades ago. So let's take a look back at our reporting highlighting the then revolutionary technology.
See that circle?
Uh-huh.
That's the baby's head.
Mhm.
All right? And do you see that circle?
Yeah.
That is a baby's head. Do you know what that
Twins.
means? Twins. There are 2 inside.
God.
That kind of dramatic surprise is, of course, unusual. But what has become routine is the exceptional accuracy with which ultrasonography monitors growth and development and determines if unborn infants are healthy or sick. But ultrasonography plays an equally important role in detecting when something is wrong. But for Dr. Bernholtz, it's the ability to tell the mother the fetus is normal and healthy that makes ultrasound most important.
Are all those babies now?
We are those
That's
babies
us.
now. That was me there, actually. I recognize that cry. The cry was giving me parenting, like,
Yeah, do you remember?
what do I have to do? Oof.
Flash, that was last night and all morning for me and my
Yeah, right. Every night still,
Every night.
Oh, my God. I have lots of jokes I can make about the ultrasounds, because they're really detailed now, but not so detailed that you can't still...
It's very cool the first time you see your kid's ultrasound.
It is, and when you're having a boy,
there you are.
every dad I've ever met who's having a son always marks the arm for some other body part. You know what I'm talking about, guys.
Yes.
It's an arm. We know what it is. Coming up, a White House chef talks about climate change and the effect on food.
So, Tony, our chat earlier about healthy food made me think about maybe trying to really kill it and knock it out of the park for dinner tonight. So, here's what I'm thinking. For an appetizer, I could make crab cakes, crab cakes, and some bread for the table. Main course, could make some salmon and wild rice. Stick with me here, there's a point. And for dessert, some chocolate with a little coffee.
This is advanced.
Yes, I know. Well, I'm inspired. But here's the catch. I could make all of this tonight, but this meal might not be possible in a few decades. That's right. And that is something former White House chef Sam Kass explores in his new TED Talk. It's inspired by his Last Supper dinner parties, featuring menus with ingredients experts say are threatened by climate change. Here's a taste.
The point of this menu is not to depress you. It's not to, make you feel bad. It's to really talk about what's at stake when we say the words climate change. What do the words climate change actually mean? What does 2 degrees warming actually mean? I'm from Chicago. 2 degrees warming, that sounds good. I'm like, let's warm it up a little bit. Maybe, what about 5? And I think we've really failed to connect what's truly at stake when we talk about the issues that we've been discussing today. So let's get into it.
Sam Kass is here to help us make that connection. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be here.
It's so good to have you here. You talk about all sorts of foods in your TED Talk. I mean, peaches from Georgia could be gone.
Yep.
Like, peaches are synonymous with Georgia. It's just unbelievable. But you say that food is also something that can save us because of its huge impact on climate change. How?
Yeah. Well, I think you're seeing food play out in a few different ways at climate. One, it's on the front lines, right? It's being decimated by climate already. It's really on the front lines of the impact that we're seeing. But it also holds a lot of the solutions that we need. I mean, on our plates are impacting forests around the world. So food and ag is the #1 driver of deforestation globally, #1 use of the world's fresh water, #1 driver of biodiversity loss. All the life on planet Earth that sustains us comes down to the food that we eat. And so those decisions that we're making can have a huge impact on our ability to solve these problems in the future.
But you talk about losing certain dishes to climate change, but isn't part of the solution you sometimes hear to climate change giving up or reducing other dishes? Like you always hear, don't eat red meat, or so how do you make that trade-off?
I think the future must be delicious if we're going to get everybody to come with us, right?
Yeah.
And I love a good steak, like the next guy. I'm from Chicago, but we do have to eat less red meat for sure. It is definitely the biggest driver of emissions from the food system. It uses a ton of water. There's a lot of land. Every time you see a forest cut down in the Amazon, it's really to either grow soybeans to feed those animals or to graze them. So that is definitely one thing that we can do, is to reduce our overall meat consumption. But it doesn't mean you can't have it at all, and it doesn't mean that what we replace it with shouldn't be absolutely delicious.
So what do you do in your personal life? What foods do you limit, and how much do you limit them, and what other changes have you made because of this outlook you have on food and climate change?
Yeah, so for me, I'm definitely reducing my overall meat consumption for sure.
Meatless Mondays, or like you only have meat once a month?
I'm not trying to be super prescriptive about it, in that regard. I just generally, like on a given week, we're not having like a big steak. But I think the other thing that I'm looking to do is support brands that are making claims around more sustainably sourced ingredients. Now, sometimes it's very difficult to tell who's telling the truth or who's just using it as marketing. But for me, anybody who's willing to start even saying it is a step in the right direction. And then we have to hold these companies accountable to make sure they're doing what they say they are. So that's definitely one thing that we can do to start shifting the whole industry to say, if you care about how you're producing these ingredients in a more sustainable way, we're going to support you as consumers. That has not really happened at scale. That must happen for sure.
I used to be on the climate beat at another network. I've covered it for years, and some people don't like talking about it.
I know.
Right? Like everyday people they don't bring it up in their personal lives. You ask someone, when was the last time you talked about climate change at home? They never have.
Yep.
Going through the door of food is a new way at it. And I'm just curious, how have people reacted when you tell them about what you're working on, what you're thinking about?
Yeah, that was really the reason that I started doing these dinners in the first place, because I realized that the words mean kind of nothing to us. 2 degrees warming, as a Chicagoan, it sounds good.
That sounds excellent.
It sounds great. We got to warm it up. And we don't really understand what these words actually mean, and we've failed entirely to have an emotional connection to what's actually at stake.
That's key.
And food is who we are as human beings. It's our identities, it's our culture. And so I think when you start to look around about what's happening to all these foods that we love, it's coffee and wine and chocolate, all these things that we love every day, that to understand that our way of life, like what makes our lives delicious, might not be able to pass down to our kids and grandkids. That's, I think, where we start to see that we all have a stake in these issues in a way that we just haven't before.
And really quickly, Sam, I see these bracelets. Are you a Swiftie? What's happening here?
I got a very expensive jeweler. His name is Rafa. He's my 5-year-old. I got a necklace on underneath.
I can see that.
And but he's why I'm doing this work. He's why we have to fight this fight, because our kids' very livelihoods are really at stake. So yeah, I take him everywhere I go.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
cool.
Sam, thank you so much. So, do you know what caught my eye yesterday, Tony?
Is it my pizza that I made?
Yes.
It is?
Which is why I put it, I sent it to the control room so we could show it, because it was amazing.
Okay.
But something else, a little Instagram video that your wife, Katie Tur, posted. The two of you were in the car, and then you had one of those random shower thoughts. You just popped some question out there, and Katie thought it was so funny that she wanted to retell the story. Here's the video.
Okay.
Out of nowhere, hadn't said a word to each other in like an hour. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, silence. When does a boat become a ship, and when does a ship become a vessel?
We went by the Baltimore Harbor, and I saw a lot of big ships
Not vessels?
That's my question, really. Am I even awake enough to drive in that?
I'm wondering, like, how did you have a hard night the night before?
We did have we had a friend's 40th birthday party,
You had
and
fun.
it was a 5-hour drive back from Washington with kids. So that was
I
haggard.
like the scruffy look, Tone.
Yeah, I like it too. You know, I'd go full beard if I could.
Let's do it. Okay, so we did some original reporting, 'cause that's what we do here.
So it's when does a boat become a ship and a ship become a vessel?
Yes, that was the huge philosophical question that you were asking yourself.
And you have an
when you
answer?
were, we do. We reached out to the Coast Guard, man, because that's what we do for you, Tony. So here's the definition. So when a boat is small, okay, let me do this again. Here's what it is. Ships are big and can traverse deep waters, oceans, and high seas for long periods of time.
Okay.
Boats, of course, are small and are meant to operate closer to the coasts. A vessel, however, ready for this?
Yeah.
Wild card, any craft that can travel on water.
Any craft.
Anything. So a boat and a ship can both be a vessel. A ship cannot be a boat?
Where does a yacht fit in?
I have no idea.
And also, who did the Coast Guard put on hold so that they could answer this question?
We'll be right there with that rescue mission.
Sorry,
Very important
you're
question.
thinking in how
for the
many
media.
minutes? All right, a yacht is a vessel. Then my other question is, when you see a sign on the highway and it says like 88 miles to New York, is that like as the bird flies, or is that a road mile measurement? That's a genuine question.
Maybe
If you
tomorrow's
know,
caught our
hit
eye.
me up. Hit me
All
up.
right.
All right, coming up. Carrie Preston, star of the hit CBS series Elsbeth. Someone very special to her is joining the show this season. Very, very special indeed. We're going to talk about it next. Hello, Carrie. We are very excited to welcome our next guest. It's an Emmy winner, Carrie Preston, who plays Elsbeth Tassioni. I think I said that right. The CBS series Elsbeth. It's a spin-off of the hit series The Good Wife, and it's back for a second season. Elsbeth, if you don't know, is you could say, quirky, unconventional lawyer who is an investigator with the NYPD. And in tomorrow night's episode, Preston's real-life husband, Michael Emerson, joins the series in a recurring role as Judge Milton Crawford. Here's a preview.
I will not risk a mistrial. Justice delayed is justice denied, and my ancestors didn't sail here on the Mayflower to see justice miscarry.
Guess you've never seen The Crucible.
Miss Tassioni, can you control yourself while we hear the rest of the evidence?
Of course I can. Can you?
Pardon me?
You've stacked the jury. You've shown Chaz here no leeway despite his family issues, and your bench rulings are showing a clear bias for the prosecution.
Carrie Preston joins us now. Carrie, in that moment when Michael says, "Pardon me," I feel in the eyes there was a little bit of the husband in there.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you know, Michael, my husband, is known for playing, you know, terrifying and evil characters. And so in this show, he's definitely playing a different kind of evil. He's a judge who's trying to get away with murder. And, you know, Elsbeth is pretty tenacious, and she's probably not going to let that happen. I don't know. I don't want to give any spoilers, but
she tends to get her way.
she's going to do her best anyway.
So you mentioned when you were on CBS Mornings that you would love to act with your husband. Now it's happening. What has it been like? Do you guys talk about scenes over dinner? You know?
No, actually, we don't. We don't. You know, we've both been doing this for a long time, and Michael's such a brilliant actor that, you know, I just wanted to treat him the way I would treat any other guest star, like, wait until, you know, learn my lines, be ready for my stuff, and then show up on the day and see what genius he brings to me. You know, don't pre-plan it. You know what I mean? And just let the process unfold, because he's so good at it.
But are you still like, honey, you know, this or that on set, or you're just like,
you know,
"Sir,
it's been fun because we have a lot of crossover crew from his show, Evil. So they all, you know, a lot of them know him already. So it was sort of felt comfortable with him, you know, showing up. Everybody was happy to see him. And so he just fit right in, you know.
So fun.
So my wife and I work in the same business, television news, and she will sometimes give me notes. Not that I want notes. Do you guys give each other notes?
No. I think that's the key to maybe a good marriage. Nothing unsolicited. I mean, sometimes I'll say, hey, you know, what do you think about this, you know, moment or whatever? But we try to keep it separate. I think it keeps it fresh for us and supportive.
So you've talked about how typically we see men in these roles as investigators, but you're a woman. You're always, you know, like just in all of the ways you just like represent this incredible female energy. What has it been like for you to play Elsbeth?
I mean, it's such a blessing. It's not lost on me, this moment. You know, I've been doing this for a while, and, you know, to finally be trusted with a lead role in a TV show at this stage in my life and in my career is truly still stunning to me. And so I don't ever take it for granted. Every moment I treat as
you
a
have
blessing.
this magic, you know, in every scene there's this twinkle, and it's just like, it's brilliant to watch. You've played Elsbeth for 14 years.
Yeah.
How has she changed? How has she grown?
Well, you know, then I would only get to play her maybe once or twice a year if I was lucky. And this time I get to play her every day, you know, so it's becoming a lot more second nature. Sometimes I don't really know the line between me and the character.
Really? How so?
It just kind of, sometimes I'll do a thing or I'll forget something or I'll pop in a room and I'll go, oh my gosh, I'm the character. And I definitely have started carrying around a lot more tote bags. Yes.
That's true, really?
Yes, yes. And I, you know, wear brighter colors and like just things like that bleed over.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you do embody the character. I was going to ask you how you maintain the lightness when you're, you know, solving murders, but I can see it now. I can see it.
Yeah, the writing is very, you know, is so smart and snappy, and you know, we don't get too dark with the murders.
Well, there's still murders, though. I mean,
it's true. It's true. It is.
But
it is.
You actually embody that lightness, and so I'm curious, where is Elsbeth going in this new season?
Well, this season we're dealing with a lot of things from our characters' pasts that are coming back to haunt us. So we're going to learn a little bit more exactly why it is that Elsbeth left the legal world and went into this new world in the police department. We also just met for the first time Elsbeth's son, Teddy. He got introduced in the Christmas episode, and so we're going to get to know her more as a mother.
And you're going to get that dopamine hit of watching Elsbeth solve the crime. It's terrific. Carrie Preston, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Elsbeth airs on Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on CBS, and it streams on Paramount Plus, we're happy to say.
Coming up, our CBS Mornings deals, day 11 of our 12 days of gifting. Oh my gosh, we're almost done. We will show you a portable jump start for your car that also works as a flashlight and a power bank, because you'll need that too. It is available at our exclusive discount of 31% off the retail price. Don't miss deals next on CBS Mornings Plus. Time now for CBS Mornings deals in our Plus Hour. Today is day 11 in our special 12 days of gifting, and we are offering exclusive discounts up to 50% off the retail price to help you find the right gifts for the people that you love this holiday season. It's helping me a lot, believe me. So to start shopping now, scan that QR code on your screen or visit cbsdeals.com. Knocking's lifestyle expert Gabrielle Kerr is with us now. Gabrielle, hi.
Good morning,
Welcome back.
Adriana.
Always love to
Thank
see
you. All right, so the deals keep coming, and the cold weather is upon us, and it can affect your car battery. So this winter, if you find yourself with a dead battery, you don't have to rely on roadside service or a Good Samaritan to give you a jump start. All you need to do is reach in the glove compartment and grab your Boost Hero. It's an all-in-one jump starter, it's a power bank, and also a flashlight.
This little thing is a jump starter?
A flashlight is a jump starter. Wow. It comes with smart cables. It's really easy to use, and it has 10 security checks or safety checks and levels of protection. So you'll take the clamps and you'll connect it. One of the safety checks, you hear that beep, beep, beep? It's telling me I put them on the wrong polarity.
Okay.
It also has an LED light built in so I can see what I'm doing, right? And this also, no sparks. So those are the big things that kind of, you know, intimidate people. This also has that 4-mode flashlight built in. This is actually going to shine almost 400 feet, 110 lumens.
That's great.
And then it has a built-in power bank so you can charge your phones, your devices so they never die. This is going to have enough juice to power your cars, your trucks, jumpstart your SUVs, our riding mower at the spring season.
I love this.
And this also is great for the college students that might be driving home for the holidays. Make sure you send them back to school with a Boost Hero. It's a universal gift for every driver. And if you head to cbsdeals.com, you're going to save $40 off. That's a 31% discount. Just choose one of the fun colors. You'll see them all listed.
I feel so empowered. I'm not going to call anyone to help me. I'm going to handle business myself.
You can do it. You can do it.
All right. Great.
All right. Now, at the end of the day, Adriana, now this is for you.
I know.
You got to charge your devices so they're ready the next day. I know. I've heard. So this is perfect. It's the solution for you. It's called the Magic Pad Pro. It comes from Raycon. It's going to wirelessly charge your smartphone, your earbuds, your smartwatch, all with just one cord, instead of having to find, like, I can't put the earbuds, the phone, and my watch in at the same time.
This morning, I couldn't charge my other devices because I had to charge my earbuds.
So you have to make a decision.
You have to decide. Who do you love more?
And well, now you don't have to decide. It fits in your pocket, and you can convert it into a phone stand.
I love this.
So if you're taking a little break after the show, you're traveling on the planes or trains, you could just put it on the phone stand. And it also has a built-in safety feature, so it won't overcharge or overheat your devices. We make the investment. We want them to last. Head to cbsdeals.com. This is one of my most affordable deals. It's under $30. Wow. Perfect stocking stuffer. So go to CBS Deals and stock up. And yeah, you need to take like 2 of those. All right, now for the coffee connoisseur on your gift list, this is going to knock their socks off. This is the award-winning Brewvie Brewer. And this is going to brew 7 different types of beverages, from premium craft coffees, true espressos and Americanos. And this is also going to make iced teas, cold brews. The magic is in their proprietary bee pods. So it has a recipe built into it. You pop it into your brewer. You're going to hear that freshness crunch. And then it's going to freshness crunch.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
It's going to read the recipe and then brew inside the pod. You can customize your brew. You can choose the temperature, the acidity, the amount, or just press the start button. And this is going to extract a remarkably tasty, less bitter coffee, just like the roasters intended. And this also is different from other single-serve brewers because this has the bee pods. It's able to degrade in landfills faster and not leave microplastics behind.
Good.
So it's a guilt-free toss, we like to call it. You're going to get your brewer in cream, which is their best-selling color. You're going to get a starter pack of 20 bee pods. And if you'd like to do your own brews, you can also add on our 2-pack of reusable bee pods, so you can put your own special brew in there as well. Head to cbsdeals.com. You are going to save $200 off the Brewvie, and this is just going to arrive in time for holiday entertaining.
It's also cute.
It's the aesthetics of it, right? It's a very good-looking barista on your countertop. Yes, have some espresso, please do. And you're gonna find that the taste is superior, Adriana. It really is well done. And brewers and roasters that don't work with other brewing, single-serve brewers, they only work with Brewvie.
This is so good. Yeah,
that'll wake you up.
It's not bitter, but it's strong.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so Gabrielle, thank you so much. We partner with all these companies, so to get these deals or buy anything you saw today, scan the QR code on your screen or visit cbsdeals.com. And a reminder, you can still get our bestseller from day 10 of our 12 days of gifting, this portable charger. It is still available for 50% off the retail price.
Look at how European you look with this. You look so continental.
Do I?
Yeah, you're like a lady from an airline ad or something. This is the picture of vacation ease. Wow.
I just feel like I just went all around the world here on CBS Mornings Plus.
By the way, peanut butter noodles recipe, you don't have to buy them in a package. You can do it from scratch right there. Eric Kim, that does it for us. We'll see you tomorrow on CBS Mornings Plus.